So what does it really take to go from being told no over and over again to becoming a global phenomenon? Well, today, we're diving into the incredible Never Say Die story of the P-pop group SB19 and how they basically rewrote the rules for an entire industry.
And that question, it is the core of SB19's story. It's really a tale about what happens when raw talent and just relentless perseverance crash up against industry doubt. And let me tell you, their journey gives us a pretty powerful answer.
All right, let's go back to the very beginning. And this was a time defined not by glamour, but by pure grit. This was their period of intense struggle, and it was all fueled by this belief in a vision that, frankly, almost nobody else could see.
Right from the start, their mission was, well, it was audacious. You had these 5 individuals brought together under a Korean entertainment company, and they had this one massive goal: to launch Filipino music, P-pop, onto the world stage. In an industry that wasn't really ready for them, this was a huge, high-stakes gamble.
Now, what this timeline really shows you is the sheer persistence that was happening behind the scenes. We're talking years of grueling training, perfecting their craft, all while getting hit with a constant barrage of rejection from the local music scene. It was a true test of their commitment, long before they ever had a single fan.
You know, this quote from CNN Philippines, it's not an exaggeration at all. It just captures the reality of what they were up against. No was a word they heard time and time and time again, but they just refused to let that be the final answer.
So, after all that struggle, how did they finally break through? Well, that brings us to the moment that changed absolutely everything. After years of grinding away in relative obscurity, their big break didn't come from some huge marketing campaign. Nope, it came from something much more organic.
Okay, so picture this. September 2019, a single video gets quietly uploaded to YouTube. It wasn't flashy, wasn't heavily promoted, but it was undeniably electric, and it was about to ignite a fire.
And that video was the dance practice for their song Go Up. What totally captivated millions of people was the raw talent, the razor-sharp synchronization, and just this undeniable passion that was radiating from every single frame. This one, unpolished video did what years of knocking on industry doors never could. The impact was immediate and honestly historic. As Billboard noted, they completely shattered a major barrier, becoming the very first Filipino act to land on the Social 50 chart. Now, this wasn't just a win for SB19. It was a huge declaration that P-pop had a dedicated, powerful fanbase that was ready to make its voice heard on a global scale. But you know, viral fame can be a double-edged sword. Sure, it brought them a massive audience, but it also threw a whole new set of challenges their way. Challenges that would force them to make probably the most pivotal decision of their entire career. With all that success came some intense scrutiny. They were constantly being compared to K-pop groups, and they still had to deal with skepticism from parts of the industry. Then, by 2023, they found themselves navigating these really complex issues with their own management, which put their future and even the ownership of their own name in jeopardy. So, their response to all these hurdles? It was a total game changer. Instead of fracturing, they doubled down on their vision. They made the incredibly bold move to leave their agency and start their very own company, 1Z Entertainment. This meant they seized full creative control and ownership of their own destiny.
And you know, NMA really hit the nail on the head with this one. By forming their own company, they went from being artists to entrepreneurs. They literally became the architects of their own careers. It was this huge act of courage that sent a powerful message to the entire industry. The old rules, yeah, they don't apply anymore.
So with this newfound independence, they were able to fully embrace a role that goes way beyond just music. They really evolved from a pop group into a full-fledged cultural movement.
As Rappler pointed out so well, their identity became completely intertwined with cultural representation. They weren't just making hit songs anymore. They were carrying the flag for Filipino artistry on a global stage. And that's a responsibility they embraced with so much pride.
I mean, just look at this breakdown of their incredible influence. They don't just use Filipino lyrics, they weave them into these powerful, globally appealing songs, proving the language is a strength, not a barrier. Their art is a masterclass in cultural fusion, and their Pug to Tag world tour, that wasn't just a string of concerts. It was a series of massive gatherings for the Filipino diaspora. And what's so crucial is that they've proven P-pop as a global force, kicking the door wide open for the countless artists who are going to follow in their footsteps. So their whole story has become this blueprint for resilience. It's living proof that you don't actually need the industry's permission to succeed.
Sometimes you just have to build your own door.
Ultimately, SB19's journey is the resounding answer to that question. It shows that when raw talent is forged in the fire of just unbreakable determination, you don't just achieve success, you completely redefine it. You create a legacy that inspires a nation and resonates all around the world.